Good afternoon, everybody, on this Hump Day, Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride home. We'll discuss Jimmy Kimmel's ratings, what Howard Stern had to say, and others after his massive return to ABC's late night hosting duties. And then we're also going to cover Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively, as we're getting information of who is getting deposed next. It is Blake Lively's assistant, I believe. We'll double check on that, and her makeup artist, which is going to be very, very interesting. And then we'll get into some more political news, as the Donald Trump Jeffrey Epstein statue that was built and put at the National Mall has now been toppled. It was not, I guess, approved by the Trump administration, and the Trump administration also sends massive shade to President Joe Biden in a new gallery of presidential photos. It's absolutely ridiculous what I'm going to share with you. All of these stories and more, they start right now on The Rush. So before we jump into Baldoni, which we have 3 Baldoni stories, how about this? Jimmy Kimmel's return breaks his YouTube record, most watched monologue ever. I have to tell you, from where I am abroad, I watched the monologue. I was standing up. I couldn't believe it. As someone who is a champion for free speech, enjoys comedy, and speaking truth to power, it was a perfect storm of why comedy exists. Kimmel's emotional and highly anticipated return to ABC very quickly became the most popular Jimmy Kimmel live monologue on YouTube. You talk about the Streisand effect. This is a little bit different, but the effect of trying to silence one of the few remaining late night talk show hosts really shows it is only going to reinvigorate the show. Now, some folks say, they'll go back down to their bad ratings after this. Maybe, or maybe a lot of people are going to give him a shot. So here, they dumped the monologue off on YouTube right after they recorded. I mean, it was almost a half an hour of Jimmy Kimmel pretty much on stage by himself, just summarizing the bizarre last 3-4 days. Unbelievable stuff. 14 plus million views on YouTube alone. And again, we'll have to see what this means for the program as they continue to try to speak truth to power. Here's what fans had to say about the monologue. And to be quite honest, I don't mean to overdo this. I think that monologue that he gave last night is going to have its own sort of home in the Hall of Fame of broadcasting in the United States of America. I really mean this. It was a pivotal moment where a show was brought back after audiences were disgusted by the government intervening and trying to push around a corporation, tell them what to do. And I just think it really met the moment. Have a listen.
A national hero. He's standing up for our First Amendment, and America should be watching because he said some incredible stuff tonight.
He made sure that everybody knew that he was not making fun of the tragedy of Charlie Kirk's murder. And he wanted everybody to make sure that that was not his intent whatsoever. And so he apologized for that, but he did want to make sure that that message was very, very clear. It was a very moving moment. I got very emotional, and so did my wife. But then we went back to hitting at the administration.
Of course, people have said, there's been a whole debate whether or not he should have apologized or not. Did you hear an apology? Did the words sorry come out of his mouth at all?
No, not really. I mean,
Yeah, this is them interviewing the audience before the show went live, and we got to watch it. There was no apology, but he said, if you thought I said something one way, I'd understand that, but I just didn't do it. And I agree with him. And I've gone back and forth with people online. I got such a rude comment from somebody who, I think they're an accountant. You'd think somebody with a nice professional job wouldn't be rude online, but I guess anybody can be. And they said, "Oh, Dave, I love your coverage of Blake Lively, but your political stuff isn't hitting the mark." They said something like that. How rude to think that, and then first of all, it's like, it's none of my business what you think of me, but how rude to say, "Oh, I loved you for this, but I don't like you for that." You hear this all the time. It's so exhausting. It's like, okay, cool. Why the fuck did you tell me that? You know what I mean? I'm going to try my best to give people the stuff that I think is important. This is me curating for you the most important news that's out there. I try to give you some positive stuff. I try to give you stuff that, like, positive or not, it's really important. And this Jimmy Kimmel stuff, this is a moment in our nation's history where we go down the road of democracy or we go down the road of dictatorship. And I really mean that, because if the government is able to say what programs are allowed on TV, YouTube is next, podcasting comes after that, and we no longer live in a world where we're allowed to share our opinion. If we can't share our opinion, what a boring world that is. I don't try to restrict what conservative people say. I roll my eyes at some of it, but rather than try to stop them from talking, I offer my own response, usually dunking on them. That's what it's meant to be an American, right? And here is Howard Stern. Again, Howard Stern was, in one way or another, kicked off of terrestrial radio, found his home on Sirius where he was allowed to swear and really just be himself. He, of course, was thanked by Jimmy Kimmel, and here's what he has to say.
I was saying to myself, what the fuck is he going to say? I thought he hit the right tone. I thought it was beautiful.
My boyhood idols, Howard Stern and David Letterman, were very considerate. I feel honored to be part of a group of people that knows what goes into doing a show like this. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
Right. Imagine the pressure. I mean, he had to come out and be the face of free speech. Plus, he's representing Disney. And plus, he's supposed to be fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's an impossible task. It is not easy.
Look, I never imagined I would be in a situation like this. I barely paid attention in school. But one thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. That's anti-American.
Well done, Jimmy. You did a great job. Very, very good.
It was.
And I couldn't have said it better myself. I had goosebumps watching it, and it wasn't because Jimmy's my favorite comedian. I don't normally consume his content. I think late night TV is having a very hard time competing with all of the other media that's out there. But it's just not about what you think of him as a person. It's him rising up to the moment. That's what it's all about. Speaking of comedians rising up to the moment, how about this? Theo Vaughn responding to a tweet that Homeland Security made. Homeland Security made a tweet titled "Bye," and it's them sharing Theo Vaughn. Have a listen.
Heard you got deported, dude. Bye.
Heard you got deported, dude. Bye. Theo responds, "Yo, DHS, Department of Homeland Security. I didn't approve to be used in this. I know you know my address, so send a check. And please take this down, and please keep me out of your banger deportation videos." He said banger in quotation marks. "When it comes to immigration, my thoughts and heart are a lot more nuanced than this video allows. Bye." Now, Theo Vaughn, in recent time, the last few months, has had people like Thomas Massey on his show. Essentially, I think he's a libertarian, but he's in the Republican Party, who's spoken out against the Epstein issues and Gaza, the genocide happening. And Theo Vaughn, I mean, I believe now more than ever that he's a comedian who wants justice. He wants democracy. He's understanding that he was pushing for a candidate that is actually delivering the opposite: fear, division, and hatred. Literally, Donald Trump said at Charlie Kirk's memorial, "I hate my opponents." That's, whether it's true or not the tone we need in a time like this. And what we're learning is how easily divided we can become based on someone in leadership being vitriolic. The fish rots from the head, as they say, the head being the executive branch. So I've got several different Justin Baldoni, Brian Friedman, and Blake Lively stories to get to. So why don't we do this? Let's reset the deck. We're going to take a quick word for our sponsors. When we come back, I'm going to share with you who Brian Friedman is set to depose next. Today's episode of the Rush Hour podcast is brought to you by Lisa. That's right, your boy's in the mattress game. I've made it, okay? And thanks to Lisa, we can offer 25% off to my listeners with the code Rush Hour. I've chosen actually the Reserve Hybrid mattress. It is unparalleled comfort with a luxurious high-density memory foam designed to completely cradle your body for the most restful sleep. Don't you just want your body cradled? We all crave that, right? And of course, you get a better sleep, you wake up bushy bushy-tailed, ready to seize the day. And you can go to lisa.com for 25% off, plus get an extra $50 off with promo code RUSHHOUR, exclusive for my listeners. And by the way, 100-day return policy. They ship the box to you. You choose on their website. 20,000 5-star reviews. Need I say more? LEESA.com, promo code RUSHHOUR for 25% off, plus an extra $50 off. Be sure to enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. Lisa.com, promo code RUSHHOUR. Who is the real Brian Friedman? May the real Brian Friedman please stand up. Please stand up. This is a website that was created by who? I have no idea. But clearly they are coming after the legal team that Justin Baldoni has hired. Brian Friedman wants to bury his past and hide his personal transgressions. It is hypocritical that he acts so self-righteous. This is the real Brian Friedman. Someone said, so why do I care about Brian Friedman? Well, I am one of his many victims, and I don't have, I guess it's whoisbrianfriedman.com, but very interesting to think how disgusting this court case has become. You've got Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, all of the side trials that are going on amongst the PR people and everybody else, and now you've got Justin Baldoni's own legal representation. And look, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to dive into Brian Friedman's history. If he's still a practicing lawyer, then whatever the heck he's accused of didn't live up to, the bar that's set for practicing law in California. Period. I don't know what else to say. Because it takes eyes off of the actual trial, which is Baldoni versus Blake Lively. I'm not here to. I mean, gosh, do I think lawyers are perfect, moral? No, I've dealt with lawyers. A lot of them are scummy. Not all of them, but some of them out there are. But, what's interesting with Brian Friedman and Blake Lively's lawyers is Blake Lively's legal teams are the ones that have created fake, court cases so that they could subpoena for documents that are supposed to be under client privilege. So again, it's like save me with the his side has bad morals argument. Now here's what's interesting. We've got several different depositions coming up. Let's listen to Katie and KC as she describes what might be a very juicy deposition.
We got a flood of filings in the Blake Lively versus Wayfair Studios case, and it is juicy because we get sealed depositions, we have sealed contracts, and we have full-on pushback from the Wayfair party saying that Blake Lively's request for attorney's fees and punitive damages was basically dead on arrival. Now, out of everything that got filed last night, this declaration from Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair party's lawyers is the part that I am most interested in because it's looking like they went ahead and deposed Vivian Baker, who is Blake Lively's makeup artist, as well as Warren Zavala, who is the WME talent agent for Blake Lively. So this is why I'm so interested in it, because this is from Blake Lively's second amended complaint that she filed on the 30th of July. If you remember, she says that Miss Lively tried meeting with Jamie Heath and Justin Baldoni to discuss the unprofessional behavior, and they both arrived unannounced into Miss Lively's hair and makeup trailer while she was topless and having body makeup removed by makeup artists. Miss Lively told Mr. Heath that she was almost done and that they could meet once she was clothed. Mr. Heath, however, insisted that if she did not allow him into her trailer to speak to him at that moment, then there would be no meeting with the other producers.
Yeah, of course, when you listen to Blake Lively's summation of what went down, they sound like a monster. But as we've seen her stretch, bend, and contort the truth, from the actual video evidence we've seen, there's, in my mind, no doubt that it happened in the way she says it did.
Miss Lively reluctantly agreed, but she asked that Miss Heath keep his back turned. A few minutes later into the conversation, Miss Lively noticed that Mr. Heath was staring directly at her while she was topless. I'm going to move me, but then she says when she called him out, Mr. Heath brushed it off as a habit of wanting to look at the person while speaking to them. Miss Lively and her hair and makeup artist were all deeply disturbed by this interaction. on just the second day of filming.
Now, I think I missaid what I meant to say. There is plenty of doubt to believe Blake Lively's side is what I meant to say. Here, this was posted on Twitter from Little Nomad, said an internet sleuth's Instagram just posted a photo that may clarify what Blake Lively meant by state of undress and topless when she accused Jamie Heath, Justin Baldoni's partner. The screenshot shows Lively during makeup, an image she shared openly with 40 plus millions on February 20th, 2024. So this is the image that Blake Lively shared with Vivian Baker, her makeup artist. And if Blake Lively felt uncomfortable, where's the screen grabs of her messaging her agent, her assistant, her husband, her best friend, her SAG rep, her anybody really? And again, should producers be barging in on talent when they're in the makeup chair? Not if they're naked. That's for them to talk about because there's a lot happening. It's not like if you work in accounting and your boss walked in to the bathroom. You might be in hair and makeup for 4 hours. You might be running lines with your co-star. There's so many variables that may be going on that are yet to be explained, which is why I think a deposition of a makeup artist will be very important. Now, this makeup artist, I'm assuming, is not Blake Lively's personal makeup artist. They are hired by the production, and it's my guess that this makeup artist wouldn't lie on behalf of Blake Lively. They're going to tell the truth. Did they feel like anything that happened was unbecoming of what is normal set behavior? That's what we're about to find out.
Again, she continues on in her second amended complaint saying that Justin and Jamie invaded her privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant. And she says Miss Lively did not expect or consent to anyone entering her private spaces while topless, exposed, and vulnerable with her newborn or during the body makeup application or removal. They both showed a shocking lack of boundaries by invading her personal space when she was undressed. They try and justify the text message, the one that we've all seen at this point where it's like literally Blake Lively says, "Hey, I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to come in and work out lines. I'm almost done." Like they justify that a little bit. And then they say the critical distinction is consent. Miss Lively's one-time invitation was neither free license to join her immediately, nor was it a general invitation to walk into the trailer anytime uninvited. And it was certainly not a license to enter Miss Lively's trailer when she refused consent. So they're saying that she actually verbally did not consent. She refused consent. And the fact that Mr. Baldoni, who repeatedly preached the importance of consent and all of these other things, displays a breathtaking hypocrisy.
Now, this would be easy to call out. If you're the makeup artist and Blake Lively refuses consent, I don't see much nuance there. Can I come in? No. And then they come in anyway. That would look bad on Baldoni. We'll have to see what the makeup artist has to say.
So the reason why I wanted to remind you guys of what she actually said in her second amended complaint is because it is very interesting to me that Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and their lawyers would upload the deposition of Blake Lively's makeup artist. Because that tells me that something in that deposition bolsters their argument and negates Blake Lively's argument.
So there it is, folks. There is more to come indeed. And then here we have the joint stipulation regarding the deposition of Justin Gray Stone. I believe is this is Mr. Greystone seeking to accommodate the crowded deposition schedule in late September. So yeah, very crowded schedule. Lots going on here. And again, lots of depositions to be had. So my thought is we're about to receive a variety of content. So buckle up and carbo load, eat your spaghetti and get ready for what might be marathons of content coming in. But yeah, I agree. The fact that, and again, this is what Baldoni's side said all the time. They said they want it all to be public. They believe they were on the right side of the story. So there they are deposing who is supposed to be on Blake Lively's side. And I'm not just saying that because she's a woman or she's whatever. She's supposed to be on Blake Lively's side because she was so intimately close to Blake Lively, doing her makeup, talking to her every day for hours on end. I'm sure. And by the way, to be a makeup artist in entertainment, You start by being a day player, like someone who's hired just to do the makeup on the background actors, and then you do them on the side characters. To be the makeup artist, and this is important, to be the makeup artist for the lead actress, and not just any lead actress, someone like Blake Lively. I mean, say what you want about her. I know people always say she's not an A-list actress, but she's in that echelon of actors. Like literally for this movie, they knew the movie was going to be successful because they got someone that was a name talent like Blake Lively. Think what you want about her. But to be that level of makeup artist, you're one of the best out there. So I'm assuming we're going to get the truth regardless, depending on whatever she has to say. All right, so there are your Blake Lively updates. We have some bombshell news coming in the world of Jeffrey Epstein. This is very important stuff. And by the way, if you are wondering why I've been all but whispering this episode, my son is napping and we are in a hotel room together, just so you guys know. I'm not moving to the NPR voice full time, but I hope you enjoy it today. Breaking news, Democrats secure the final seat needed to vote to release the Epstein files. This is a bombshell story. Yes, that's right. How did this happen? Well, there is, I think this is because some people died? There were new elections that are just kind of been trickling in, and now there are enough members of the Democrat Party in the House to push a vote through to release the Epstein files.
Plus, the breaking news tonight, Democrats securing the final push they need to force a vote on the release of the Epstein files, as Democrat Adelita Grijalva wins the special election in Arizona's 7th congressional district.
So there it is. So again, does that mean the Epstein files will be coming out sometime soon? A statue of Trump and Epstein holding hands in D.C. is removed as fast as it appears. This is a really nice statue. It looks like it's brass or copper, or maybe it's fake. I don't know. Very gleeful. It actually makes Trump look a little skinnier, maybe. A very slimming statue there. Well, that statue went down last night. Here's the video, or I should say early this morning here. Someone with the National Park Service removing this demonstration right here. He said they say they don't have a permit, so no shockingly, we're finding out that there was no permit to put up a Trump Epstein statue there in D.C., but hey, they got the photos, right? So they made their point. Now we have Homan, real quick, the border czar, threatens to sue over the bribery story. You might remember MSNBC did a bribery story where they said he accepted a $50,000 cash bribe, in exchange for, guaranteeing contracts to people, real dark and dirty stuff. And his response was, I've worked in, law enforcement for 30 years, which, by the way, no offense to the good cops out there, it made me feel like he's guilty as hell. And he said, I did nothing wrong, but at no point did he deny taking the $50,000.
People need to understand, day one of the administration, when President Trump asked me to come back and we entered on duty, I met with ethics attorneys, and by law, you're supposed to recuse yourself from any company you had affiliations with before. But I took it a step further. I recused myself from all federal contracts. I won't have any decision-making in any federal contract, but people, including this recent case, people are saying, I'm going to line the pockets of people. I signed that declaration. I do not make decisions in any federal contracts. And just so people know, I make about 18% of what I've made in my company to come back and serve my nation. So my family's taken a sacrifice. I've taken a sacrifice.
His family took in a sacrifice. He took in a sacrifice. Did you took in the $50,000? That's the question I want answered.
I'm back here doing the right thing. The hit pieces keep coming, but I know who's chumming the water. I know who keeps throwing this information out, and the media jumps all over it. And they're going to see some legal actions real soon. I'm working with the legal team. I'm done with it. They can attack me all they want, but we're going to take action.
He's like, I'm going to hire my lawyer for $50,000 because here's a bag full of money. Now, MSNBC says that the FBI has a video of him taking the money. So I guess while we're busy releasing the Epstein files, why don't we release the video too? How about this? Let's end on this insane story. This is wild. New presidential Walk of Fame has auto pen picture of Joe Biden. So they have photos of Nixon and George Bush and everyone, and Reagan and George H.W. and Clinton, and then George Bush again, and then Barack Obama, and then here it is, Donald Trump, and then they have a photo of an auto pen. This is the country we live in. This is the disgrace that is going on out there, the mockery. Let me ask you guys a question. Is anybody benefiting from lower grocery prices? Is anyone benefiting from better healthcare at a lower cost? Is anyone benefiting from, what does this do for the middle class? These dunkings that they're doing on Joe Biden, and isn't it wild how everyone had an uproar over what Jimmy Kimmel had to say, even though Jimmy Kimmel wasn't even making fun of Charlie Kirk, and yet the president of the United States of America continues to dunk on the recent former president, Joe Biden, who is battling cancer. I don't know. I'm not trying to play the cancer card. I just think it's interesting, when you see what Trump can get away with here. Very interesting stuff. Actually, let's go on this. This is maybe this will be our final story. ESPN's Jimmy Pitaro responds on the question of if the Trump administration influenced the Kaepernick documentary decision. We've reported on this a few months ago. I think Spike Lee. I think Spike Lee was doing the documentary on Colin Kaepernick, who essentially was blackballed from the NFL for taking a knee to protest police brutality. Everyone said, "Oh, don't disrespect the troops." He continued to say, "It's just me protesting police brutality." And then the response from people said, "Yeah, but you're disrespecting the troops." And he said, "I have no desire to disrespect the troops. I'm just..." So it was like, again, willfully ignoring his actual message. So they make a documentary about him and it just goes away. They said it's not going to be released. Now, after we hear about Jimmy Kimmel getting soft canceled and returned and Stephen Colbert getting canceled all because of mergers and deals that need approval of the FCC, is this why the Kaepernick documentary went away? Have a listen.
Some controversy, at least, Jimmy. Let me ask you, this Spike Lee, Colin Kaepernick documentary that apparently was shelved or has been shelved, given the current political climate, there are those who believe, well, that timing is kind of strange. Was it perhaps a result of your not wanting to anger the Trump administration that you're no longer pursuing that?
No, absolutely not. We made that decision many months prior to the NFL announcements. I think what happened, David, is Spike was I believe on the red carpet and was asked this question somewhat out of the blue, and that's why it became news. But again, there were creative differences. We made the decision in partnership with Colin and Spike to not move forward many months before any NFL announcement, and it had nothing to do with the recent
So
deals.
it was done completely separate even before sort of
Correct.
Political considerations might have been something that...
I'm going to need to hear from Colin Kaepernick on that one. No offense, Jimmy Pitaro, but I'm going to have to hear what he has to say because I ain't buying it. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. You know what the saying is, right, George W.? Okay, that's it for us this afternoon. We'll be back in the morning. We're here twice a day, every day. We'll see you then. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.